Hello, everyone, and welcome to another perspective with Tyrese Biv. And tonight, I'm going to do my Dark Horse NBA season preview. I'm going to give you all my dark horses for individual awards, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. And I'm also going to give you my dark horse Western Conference champs, Eastern Conference champs, and my dark horse NBA champion. Again, these are the dark horses, so don't get offended. Don't say I don't know anything about basketball. Don't say this guy's reaching. These are the dark horses. Don't come back at the end of the year and say, you're an idiot. This is what you said was going to happen, and it wasn't even close. These are dark horses. These are long shots. But I do believe they have an opportunity and a chance. And basketball is a team sport, but we love individual awards. So I'm going to start with the individual awards. And I'm going to start with one of the awards that most of the time people forget about it. It's an overlooked award, and that's Defensive Player of the Year. And this is the one thing that this gentleman does not have on his resume, and that is LeBron James. LeBron James for Defensive Player of the Year. Again, this is a dark horse. I think LeBron James, now with Dwayne Wade and with, Jay Crowder, LeBron James can really pick his spots, both offensively and defensively, as far as placing his energy. I think that with Dwayne Wade starting at the 2, because I don't see Dwayne Wade coming off the bench, but with Dwayne Wade starting at the 2, and I think they would probably be best having Jay Crowder start as well at the 3 and moving LeBron to the 4. This isn't a bang league anymore. This isn't a down low post bang league anymore. That's not what this league is. This league is a stretch you out, shoot the 3-pointer, run and gun league. So LeBron James starting at the 4 allows him to be probably a little bit more closer to the basket. Now he can come over and make those weak side blocks. Now he's playing at the 4. He can get in the passing lanes a little bit more, play more of a safety role when he's playing against guys that aren't really shooters. And he can play safety and just roam around and in the back and just make great defensive plays and use his basketball instincts and his basketball IQ on the defensive end with and allowing, because it looks like Derrick Rose is going to probably be the starter until Isaiah Thomas comes back. But hey, letting Isaiah Thomas, when he does come back, hey, you be the guy. You be the guy. Letting Isaiah Thomas be the guy offensively to carry majority of the offensive load, and then allowing Kevin Love to be that pick and roll, pick and pop guy with Isaiah Thomas, and let them run a 2-man game, and let me be the guy. I slash, and when I need to take over a game offensively, I can take over a game offensively. That would be the best scenario for him, is to just pick his spots of aggression, so that way he's not dead tired come the NBA Finals. He has fresher legs versus him having to take nights off here, nights off there, and get out of rhythm, get out of sync, not show great chemistry with his teammates. Just pick his spots and managing his minutes and managing his offensive workload. Because the guy, if he wanted to, the guy could average a triple-double. And if he averages a triple-double and he focuses on averaging the triple-double Something's going to have to give, and it's probably going to have to be the points. He's not going to average a triple-double and score 28 to 30 points a game. He's going to average a triple-double and score 24 to 26 points a game. Not a huge difference, but it is a huge difference. But I think with this team, they have the guys around him now that can take the pressure off of him, both offensively and defensively, to where he can pick his spots and be that dominant guy at both ends of the floor that he once was. Which segues me into the Sixth Man of the Year award. My dark horse is J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith, with the arrival of Dwayne Wade, comes off the bench, and now he's in his comfortable role of just coming off the bench and being that spark off the bench. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to dance. I'm going to step back. I'm going to hit threes. I'm going to catch and knock down long-range threes. He's more comfortable coming off the bench, watching other guys, getting a feel for the game, and then coming in and taking over while he's on the floor. He's not a sit back and wait for the game to come to me guy. He's a guy that loves to go in and take it to the game. And coming off the bench, I think JR will be back to himself and more confident coming off the bench and being that guy, that spark, that takeover guy in second quarters and late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter type guy. And then he can also finish games because of his ability to space the floor if they want to go small with other teams. He's another guy that does that very well for them. My dark horse coach of the year, and that is Minnesota Timberwolves coach Tom Thibodeau. And the reason why is because he now has a veteran guy that knows him and knows what to expect of him. And now he has one of his guys there in the locker room, and that's in Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler being there is going to pay huge, huge dividends for the rest of that team, and that team could very well be one of the 4 to 6 best teams in the Western Conference. You add another guy that knows him and knows his system in Taj Gibson. You know, they just know what to expect from Coach Thibodeau, and more so at the defensive end. And the better they get at defense, because they were blowing leads last year. They weren't finishing games last year, and that was the difference between them making the playoffs last year and watching the playoffs last year. They blew a lot of games. And now that you have a Jimmy Butler, a veteran, and a Taj Gibson, veteran, to help the young guys out, Wiggins, Anthony Towns, Shabazz Muhammad, and you add a Taj Gibson, you add a Jeff Teague, you add a Jimmy Butler. Look out. Look out. They are going to be very, very good. And it's going to be mostly due to Tom Thibodeau's defensive mindset. And I would not be surprised if he wins Coach of the Year because of this team's defensive mindset and then their ascending up the Western Conference standings. My Rookie of the Year dark horse and I know some people are going to love this. That is Dennis Smith Jr., the Dallas Mavericks point guard. He is special. I would not be surprised if he led all rookies in scoring. Not even the least bit would I be surprised if he leads all rookies in scoring. And on that team, they're not going to be great, but I expect them to challenge for that 8th spot in the West, and mostly because of him. Mostly because of him. And if the Dallas Mavericks are fighting for the 8th spot, and it's mostly because of him, he's your Rookie of the Year. He's your Rookie of the Year. There's no other guy on that team that you can look at and that you really feel is a legit threat night in and night out. Not Harrison Barnes, not Wesley Matthews, and not an over-the-hill Dirk Nowitzki. Lonzo Ball has better guys around him with the Julius Randles and the Brandon Ingrams than Smith Jr. does in Dallas. So I expect that if Dallas is fighting for an 8th seed, Dennis Smith Jr. is your Rookie of the Year. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs playing for Mike D'Antoni. James Harden almost won an MVP playing point guard for Mike D'Antoni. Chris Paul is a better point guard than both of them. So, I don't think it's a far-fetched, I don't think it's a huge stretch to say that Chris Paul can win MVP playing for Mike D'Antoni. I don't think it's far-fetched the least bit. Not the least bit is it far-fetched to think that Chris Paul can win MVP. Now he's got to stay healthy, of course. And so do the other guys around him. They have to stay healthy as well. But when you look at the shooters that he has to throw the ball to, there's just snipers all over the place with Harden and Gordon and Anderson and Ariza. Like, whew. There's just snipers all over the place that now Chris Paul can throw the ball to. He still has this guy that he can throw the lobs to, and Clint Capella. They're gonna be good. They're gonna be a top 4 or 5 team in the West. And Chris Paul is gonna have a career year, I believe, in this system. And that's saying something for a guy who's had the career that he's had, to say that he's going to have a career year. But it's going to be because of the system. But if you don't take anything away from what Steve Nash accomplished or what James Harden accomplished in this system, you can't take anything away from what Chris Paul achieves in this system. You can't. And I think that he's going to achieve things that will make him an MVP candidate. And he's my dark horse to win this year's MVP. Now let's get to the fun things. Let's just say Chris Paul was my dark horse to win the MVP. So my dark horse to win the Western Conference Championship is the Houston Rockets. Yeah, that's my dark horse. They're my dark horse to win the NBA championship. Now, people say they don't play any defense. Well, most of the time you are a reflection of your leader. And their leader is James Harden. Well, now their leader will be Chris Paul. And Chris Paul